Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Mining Weekly editor Martin Klima joins me today to unpack the latest news in the mining industry. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Ashni.
Can you tell us about Copper 360 shares rising more than 26% after it shipped concentrates from the Northern Cape?
You know, Copper 360 is really working at a good pace. Copper in the world needs to be there, and we need to produce it at a pace. The world does. And if they all do it at the pace that Copper 360 is doing it, I think we won't have any problem. Because if we look back at the Northern Cape, you know, to 1940 up to 1980s and 90, that was a big copper area. But the copper price fell at that stage, so they abandoned all those mines. It's brilliant now that in comes Copper 360, gets into these areas where there's not only dump material, which they're turning into copper cathode, but there's also other opportunities to get moving fast. So for the first time in 21 years, they've shipped out copper concentrate into the market. And so that pace is really what we need. And we can see their mining right is colossal. So they're talking about a dozen possible mines there. So this area could be a very major copper area, bigger than even it was in the past, you know, if we do this well. And I think it will be done well. You know, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange listing is there on the old text. We can see that the payout of dividends is going to come early next year because that was the condition of some of the loans. But on the whole, I think that we really can look forward to some good developments coming out of the Northern Cape.
Now, Orion Minerals also had its shares skyrocket to 58% on the Australian Stock Exchange.
Yeah, so you've got Copper 360, but you've had Orion Minerals, you know, going in there for many years now, also seeing this vision of what was a big copper area and a zinc area and how we can bring that back. So they're looking at their flagship Priska. You know, so it's just a matter of months now before that starts to produce. And then you've got their O'Keefe projects as well, plus they've got 2 exploration projects. And because they are listed on the Australian Exchange, they're having to sort of drill a lot. And they're talking about the O'Keefe ore body being like a chocolate cake but full of cherries. And as they drill there, you know, they can prove to Australia, they can prove this is no fluke, this is something that's there. So their share price rocketed. The shareholders in Australia, particularly 58%, they recognized, hey, what these people have been saying is real, because, you know, these are complying with all the drilling regulations and showing you it is exactly there. So we had their shares also going, and that's the Northern Cape again. So we can see a lot of activity there, and hopefully this will turn to big account in the not too distant future.
Lastly, tell us about the new digital system that can be used to buy and sell green hydrogen.
You know, we're in a totally different era. We've come through an era where we've had oil and gas, and you know, we've had these refineries, and then the refineries would pipe, and there would be sort of no clear indication of who's doing what. There'd be big oil companies. You'd have to pay for everything in advance when we got to the petrol station. Probably still have to do that. But with the green hydrogen, you see these new participants like Life in France. They are at sea and they're on land. They're producing this green hydrogen. They're saying, you know, because we're in the new era, this can be a far more widespread arrangement, because if we're using existing infrastructure, which new technology will allow, you know, you click on a button and you say, we want some of this green hydrogen. Oh, where do you want it? Over there. And you get it. And they've already set this up. So they've set up a situation. Orders are coming in from people using digitization, the modern digitization, and it's widespread. It's not like the little hubs we used to have. And it can mean that this really spreads in a way that it'll have an impact on price, it'll have an impact on decarbonizing, and it's the decarbonizing really, when you get back to it, that we've got to have. And it's only green hydrogen really that can give that to you in the proper way, which is also good for our platinum group metals industry, because the moment they choose, you know, the PEM electrodes, electrolysis, it helps us with the production of that. And then when they convert that green hydrogen back into electricity, they can use platinum group metals again in the fuel cells. So it's very important for us. We're going to have to really look at this in South Africa to try and get into this new era faster, particularly now with these bids being made for Anglo-American and the confusion here. We should really focus our mind on making sure we advance domestically and go ahead with what is happening also around the world, as we saw with Life in France this week.
Thanks for speaking with us, Martin.
A great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on the local and global mining industries. To subscribe to Creamer Media's Engineering News and Mining Weekly, please email subscriptions at creamermedia.co.za.